Start, bench, cut these 3 Penn State running backs in college. Can you tell me who Penn State football is playing this weekend?
Sorry, what?
Welcome back into the Penn State Pulse. I'm your host, Dylan Dawson. After a strong Week 1 start, Penn State now begins their 4-game streak of home matchups, beginning with Bowling Green this Saturday at noon. The game will be aired on the Big Ten Network. The line on this thing opened around Penn State by only 29.5, which was a bit surprising to me. That line has since climbed to, I believe, 35.5 at the moment. I'm sure it'll keep climbing and probably get up near 38, maybe 40 by kickoff. I don't have a ton to discuss today. I mean, it should be a pretty not easy, but a pretty expected outcome on Saturday. So I figured I'd throw in my thoughts on a couple new Penn State commits. So let's jump right into that. Penn State landed 2 recruits in the last few days, and they were both top targets at their respective positions for that Penn State staff. Matthew Alton is the first name. Alton actually flipped his commitment to the Nittany Lions on Monday after being committed to Brent Pry and Virginia Tech since July 1st. There are a lot of people in Lash who had this kid as their top overall wide receiver target in the 2025 cycle, so this is a really big get for the Nittany Lions. 24/7 Sports has him as a 4-star and the number 139 overall player in the class. Penn State's wide receiver class is now up to 4 in 2025 as Alton joins Lyric Samuel, Jeff Exner Jr., and Kobe Howard. All 4 guys are considered to be 4-star recruits in the 24/7 composite rankings. So Marcus Higgins is putting together quite the class here. I don't think they're done. They'll probably take a 5th body if it's the right guy. I'd say Lex Cyrus is a name to keep an eye on. He is from Harrisburg, a 4-star slot guy. He's a speedster. He runs like a 10.6 100 meter. Committed to South Carolina over the summer, but Penn State's stayed in contact there. They're going to keep pushing. Not too hard. You don't want to push them and piss them off, but they're staying in contact. And then a day later, after Alton, Malachi Goodman committed to the Nittany Lions, the 4-star offensive tackle. He is already 6'6", 315 pounds. He hails from Paramus, New Jersey. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but it's in North Jersey. That's all you really need to know. He holds offers from pretty much everyone in the country. I'll name a few here. He's offers from Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, USC, Michigan, Auburn. Pretty much all the big boys in the country were after this kid. On 3 has Goodman slotted as the number 107 overall player in the country and the number 11 offensive tackle recruit. 24/7 has him as the number 7 tackle in the class. So Penn State does have a game to play this Saturday, and y'all know the deal. It's 1-0 each week, no looking past anyone. Bowling Green, you can't sleep on anyone. They're not your typical MAC team. They beat Georgia Tech 38-27 last season. They went to a bowl game. They lost to Minnesota by 6 points in the Quick Lane Bowl, so they can hang with Power 4 teams. They've shown that as recently as last year. Week 1 of this year, they beat Fordham 41-17. They're definitely a run-first offense. They had 9 guys that got carries in that season opener, where they rushed for 305 yards, 9.2 yards per carry, and 5 touchdowns on that game. On the defensive side of the ball, I did watch, not really film, but I went through a 20-minute highlight video of their game. Their defense did have some tackling issues in Week 1, which you really don't want to see against a team like Fordham. So Penn State might have some issues, some opportunities for some big plays, maybe yards after the catch for the receiver. Maybe Nick can break another one deep. Special teams, they faked a punt on 4th and 25, and they converted. The punter literally just hiked it and took off, and he got like 30 yards. So maybe watch for a fake punt this Saturday. I don't know if they'll try and incorporate that again. I'm sure Penn State saw that on film, and they'll be ready for it, but you guys should be as well. So watch for the fake punt. I don't know if they would really try and pull that again, but if they do, that would definitely be an interesting situation to watch play out. So let's get into some Bowling Green standout players. First up, their quarterback is very experienced. His name's Connor Bazelak. That might strike a chord for a few of you. He started his career at Missouri. He was a 4-star recruit in the 24/7 Sports Composite. He then transferred to Indiana, which I believe he started a game against Penn State either last year or the year prior. He's very comfortable in the pocket. Like I said, he's very experienced. I think this is his 4th or 5th year in college football. He's fairly mobile as well. He can move around. Think Sean Clifford style of quarterback. Their backup quarterback, Lucian Anderson. He is a true freshman. He's like 6'3", from Georgia. He has blazing speed. They will involve this guy in the run game. They'll probably bring him in as the lone quarterback at some point and just let him run with it. He had a touchdown against Fordham where he literally just hiked it. I guess you could call it Wildcat, but it was a quarterback power. He just took off right off the left tackle and he ran 15 yards in like 2 seconds. So that's another one to keep an eye on, Lucian Anderson. Their tight end's pretty good, Harold Fannin Jr. He is like 6'4", but he's very athletic and shifty. He had some nice plays in their opener as well, where he finished with 6 catches for 67 yards. Terrion Stewart is their running back. He is a tank. This kid is 5'9", 220 pounds. He ran it 14 times for 161 yards and 3 touchdowns last weekend. He is a very strong, explosive runner. That'll be one you definitely have to contain. That's probably their top guy on the offense. Their return man is very lethal. His name's Justin Pegues. He returned their opening kick last weekend. He returned that opening kick 100 yards for a touchdown to start their season off. It's a pretty good way to start your season. And he also took one of his 2 punt returns back for a 24-yard return. He's a smaller guy as well at 5'9", but very explosive. Penn State will have to hone him in. On defense, they have a D tackle. I think he plays nose tackle for them as well. Anthony Hawkins. He is 6'2", about 300 pounds. He had 7 tackles and 2 sacks in their first game. Just a bigger guy. I don't think Nick Dawkins will have too much of an issue with him, but it will be someone to keep an eye on. And then they have a linebacker. He's 6 foot, Joseph Sipp Jr. Not the biggest guy, but he's very instinctive and physical. He had 8 tackles and a sack in their opener. And he had 73 total tackles last season, which I believe led their team. I didn't look too much into that, but he was up there regardless. So moving on, I'm going to jump into a few predictions per usual. First, Ohio State wide receiver transfer Julian Fleming. I had a lot of people in my mentions about that. Where is Julian? Why isn't Fleming getting any targets? He didn't record a catch in the opener against West Virginia, and I'm not sure he did receive a target. As I had previously mentioned, he wasn't really brought in to be the guy at wide receiver. That's going to be Harrison Wallace. But he was very involved in the offense. Speaking of Fleming, he was a key blocker, a key decoy man in a lot of those explosive plays. But I think it's Julian's time to shine now. And I'm going to say that he records not only his first catch, but his first touchdown in a Penn State uniform this Saturday. Next up, Drew Aller recorded 3 passing touchdowns in the opener, all of which came in the first half of that one last weekend. And I think he keeps that rolling. So give me another game with 3 or more passing touchdowns for QB1 Drew Aller. And then finally, my last prediction. As I previously mentioned, Bowling Green rushed for 5 touchdowns in their season opener. I think Penn State holds them to 1 rushing touchdown max on Saturday. The Falcons are big up front, but it won't be enough to create a stalemate with PSU's front 7 in my opinion. And then for the final score prediction, I'm going to go with Penn State 45, Bowling Green 6. I think PSU scores a bunch early and is able to pull the starters for a full quarter at minimum. And we should be able to get a pretty good look at a bunch of the younger guys. And that will hopefully include true freshman quarterback Ethan Grunkmeyer, who has created a lot of buzz for himself this offseason. He had a very nice offseason according to a lot of reports. I'd also like to see Tysier Denmark get a little bit of action, the true freshman receiver out of Philly, who has generated some buzz for himself as well. So that's going to do it for the Bowling Green game preview. If you're at the game Saturday, keep an eye out for me. I will be on the field, probably in a white polo, so come say hi if you can. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and have a great weekend.